Ian's the perfect guy that I just thought I would never find. When I was in like 10th grade, I was a lonely Valentine's Day. I was probably feeling bitter that I didn't have anyone, and I made this list in my journal of my perfect guy. It was all the qualities I wanted in a perfect guy.
I remember being at one of those youth purity retreats in high school, and they asked us guys to make a list of everything that we wanted in a wife. And I remember being really specific, even naming things like brown hair, brown eyes, cool, kind of funky,
Gives good massages, who has good teeth, who likes the same music as I do. So I was raising the bar pretty high, and I kind of closed my journal and forgot about the list the next day because I knew that I would never find that guy.
This was my idea of a perfect girl. But I think most importantly, I wanted a girl who was also in love with God and put God at the center of her life. And so I think sometimes faith comes with frustration because I waited and I waited and I waited. And as I worked my way through college, I was wondering, is God ever going to bring this girl to me?
So it turns out that guy did exist right here in State College, and I knew about him way before he even knew about me. I was in gym class in 11th grade, and some of my girlfriends and I, including Ian's sister Alicia, were climbing the little rock wall in the State High gym and just discussing upcoming prom and all the drama that went with it.
Apparently, while I was waiting this whole time, Brenda's friends were telling her about me and how perfect we would be together. Like we were the same person or something, and that we would just be so good together.
And all the girls who knew Ian all said that if I couldn't find anyone, that I should go with him because we would be really good together, and apparently we were like the same person. So I thought about it, and then like the next day I probably forgot that conversation.
So for a few more years, we lived in the same town. We had mutual friends. We probably even went to youth events together, and yet we still never met. That is until one night at ACF.
I was a freshman at Penn State, and my roommate Courtney and I decided one night to go to ACF. And when we got there, Alicia Brody was there too, and she ran up to Courtney and said, "Guess what? Ian's here tonight too." And they both just got so excited because finally me and Ian were in the same room.
We were in the same small group at ACF, and I kept staring at her, and I was like, "Stop that, Ian. You're gonna creep her out." But it was one of those things where I was looking at her, and then she would look at me, and my eyes would dart away, and about a minute later I would look back up, and she was looking at me, and then her eyes would dart away.
And I don't even remember what we talked about or who was there or anything, but I remember the whole time I just kept sneaking little peeks at Ian because I was just like, wow, this is the guy I've been hearing about for like the past 2 years. And I thought he was pretty good looking and had these great blue eyes.
And I thought, oh man, I need to talk to this girl. So right after ACF ended, I went straight to her, found her, and talked to her. And I just got that warm feeling that I still get when I'm around her. And I thought, man, this girl is so cool. I've got to hang out with this girl some more.
And so before we left that night, for some reason, I remember giving him a hug. I don't remember much else from it, but I remember hugging him. And the first thing Courtney said when we got back to our room was, "Brenda, you need to date him."
So February 9th of 2008, I told her to be my girlfriend. I didn't ask her. What was that like?
We were in my dorm. We had just watched the movie Vertigo, and when it was over, I got up to turn off the movie, and he kind of tackled me back onto the bed, and I kind of knew that something was gonna happen. And next thing I knew, he said he wanted to make me his girlfriend.
Yeah, and I knew I loved her really, really early on when we would just be together, and I got that, warm feeling, and I thought, wow, this is somebody I feel like I've known my whole life, even though we just met. I feel like I've known her for so long. And you know that you're in love. At least I knew I was in love whenever we could just sit there in silence and just enjoy each other's presence.
And like I realized that I wanted to do, I just wanted to make him happy. Like on top of the feelings that I felt for him. Like I just I cared so much about Ian, and I just knew that like whatever I did, I wanted to make sure that he was going to be the happiest man in the world.
On September 3rd of this past year, 2010, we came to this very spot. And after I had already tricked her and sent her on a trail of roses, made her believe that she was getting engaged to, and then letting her down by taking her to a Penn State football pep rally.
Not where I wanted to go.
Not where she wanted to go. That's how I had to trick her so that she had no idea it was coming. Because then she started thinking, what?
I started thinking that he was going to propose. He left notes all around campus. And when I got to the end of the scavenger hunt, he was there. And I got like all excited, and then he gave me a thing of roses that just said, "You didn't think I was gonna make it that obvious." And I was like, "What?" And then he gave me a football jersey to wear over my cute little dress I had put on. So I was kind of mad. I kind of cried a little bit. But then later, he said, "Well, let's make dinner together." So he went home to get changed, and I was at my apartment getting some stuff together, and he came back and he was looking a little nicer, and he was like, "Let's go on a picnic." So we came over to here, the Alumni Center, on this very bridge, after a lot of going on about our relationship and how much we are meant to be together. And he asked me, "So how badly do you want to marry me?" And I said, "Pretty bad." And I felt him like fiddling around in his pocket, and then all of a sudden the ring appeared.
I got down on one knee, and this time I asked. Because last time I didn't ask her to be my girlfriend, I told her to be my girlfriend. But this time I got down on one knee and I asked her, "Will you marry me?"
And I said yes. I cried a lot then too.
No, she didn't say yes. She cried a lot.
I cried first, and then I said yes.
She cried and yelled, and I'm sure everyone around her heard, but that was a yes.
I think the best part of just knowing that I get to spend the rest of my life with Ian is that he's just so fun. Like we just always have so much fun when we're together. I'm so excited to go through life and everything that's coming our way. It's comforting to know that I'll get to do it with Ian.
I mean, we're just, I think, two fun people, but I think she's just genuinely fun. A funny person, kind of got that funky style you all know about. And I just enjoy that so much. But it's also having somebody who knows me so intimately, knows my deep, dark secrets, and doesn't judge me, really listens to me, and helps me through things when I need it, and allows me to help her through things when she needs it. Yeah. And so I'm just so excited to be with you for the rest of your life.